An arrangement, so to speak, was made prior to the physical life of the channel within what you would call the oversoul of the channel, of which I am also a part. We are part of the same soul. You might refer to me as the channel's future self, and incarnationally speaking, I would look at the channel as my past self, just to put it in linear terms.
We are not happy with the way that things exist currently in our reality. All right, we are from what you would perceive to be the future. And we have come back to our past so that we may learn, all right, and so that we may assist the planet, because what's going on now is going to impact the entire universe.
Well, we would prefer that you ask us, if you like. There's nothing in particular we would like to say, except that we're here, and it's very, very pleasant to be here. It's a delight. It's part of sharing, with the big S, if you might say. The archetype of sharing is something we enjoy embodying.
I've had many, many lifetimes on Earth. I have deep love and compassion for humans because I remember what it was like to go through the things that humans are going through now. I remember the challenge in particular, the challenge of knowing at some deep level that you are a spiritual being.
You sit in the energy of a great shift. Many of you are feeling it. Maybe that's why you're watching this now. Maybe there's something that's happened in your life that would allow you for a moment just to open your mind and look inside something you always thought was untenable before, only reserved for those on the lunatic fringe before. And here you find instead wisdom pouring out. Perhaps you'll even feel the love of God pouring out.
There's a lot of things that are being transmuted and altered at this time. All right, you're finding some things out about some of your religious leaders. You're finding some things out about religion that just isn't holding true to you. It's not ringing true to you anymore.
Well, we want to tell you this, is that there is so much here that is hiding. But you must feel it. There has been such a shift in these last years, especially in the last 20 or so.
You're remembering who and what you are, and it doesn't need an intermediary.
This changeover from the old religious system that so many of you are familiar with is difficult, very difficult, because it holds on tightly. Those who have such a strong concept of God as some higher authority and is the only creator, they want to hang on to that dearly. They fear letting God go, their old God, you see, because they are so out of touch with themselves, they can't possibly even contemplate what it's like to have to go inside.
Since so many humans are still part of traditional religion, we realize it's hard for them to accept this concept and for them to absorb it and assimilate it.
There are mavericks out there. There are those who are going outside of the grid. There are those who are taking huge leaps of consciousness within themselves. They are looking inside for the answers rather than letting somebody outside do it for them. They are breaking this pull, this type of magnetism from mass consciousness and going off on their own.
How many aware people on the planet is it going to take that are able to put their awareness into their speech and into their actions before the collective consensus is affected? And that is yet to be determined. No one knows exactly when and how that'll happen.
They are going to be the examples to other humans that you can cross the chasm of old consciousness to new, that you can integrate the human and the divine right here, right now. You don't have to wait till you die to do it. You don't have to wait till your next incarnation. You can do it right here.
You will see within the next 10 and 20 years a change in verbiage as people are able to articulate more about self-responsibility. You're already seeing that. As people are able to articulate more about other levels of consciousness, the higher consciousness, you're already seeing more of that. People talk about it, my higher self, my higher consciousness. And then behaving from that level of integrity is what you will feel.
What's going on now between the limited human and the souled being, the soul doesn't really necessarily care about all of the human whinings. None of it matters. It doesn't matter if you didn't pay your rent. It doesn't matter if you were a multimillionaire. None of it matters. Those are things of concern to the human aspect only. What the soul cares about, what your spirit cares about, is consciousness, which means awareness. Your soul and your spirit cares about the joy of being. The joy of being, in other words, experiencing what is in front of you to experience.
We will tell you thought creates form, all right, but your emotional states vibrated into being. So whatever you are putting out emotionally, you're going to get back energetically. And because the physical reality is reflecting the emotional, if there are lower frequencies that you are putting out, then what you're getting back in the physical realm are the lower frequencies.
The soul would rather have a bad experience for you than no experience at all. You see, those humans who try to run from experiencing things and doing things and creating things, they're really frustrating their own soul.
Whatever vibration you give off, whatever frequency you create or generate, determines utterly and absolutely whatever experience is reflected back to you from your reality, because physical reality really does not empirically exist apart from your definition of it. Even your own quantum physicists are beginning to discover this. So physical reality is likened to a mirror.
It's not going
to... Your life changes like that. Don't be surprised that it changes. That's one thing that always amazes the angelic beings that I work with. A human asks for change, and then their life starts changing, and then they, what do you call it, freak out, because they lose their job, and they lose their family, and they lose all that old baggage they've been carrying around, and they go into fear. But understand that as the changes begin, there's an evolution of energy. It is a cleaning house, getting rid of the old to make way for the new you.
We always say it's a bit like, you know, placing your order with the universe, if you will. You climb the stairs to the rooftop of the building and you throw your boomerang out to the universe. That's your order. All right? And so you've taken yourself to a frequency level up here. So you place your order and then you start to worry about it. It hasn't come back yet. I must not deserve it. I'm not going to get it. So you drop yourself out. You know, you go down a couple floors. Well, the order comes back and you're not standing on the roof anymore. All right? You dropped out of the frequency range that exists in. So you've got to keep yourself the same rate at which you are placing your order.
It seems like
it's never beneficial to anyone to do anything that does not feel good to them. And so many humans are doing things that don't feel good to them. And the perfect example of that is people are often in jobs they hate. They're doing the work for the money, not because they love it. So anytime you're doing anything that does not feel good to you or that does not resonate with you, you're doing yourself a great disservice. And you're distancing yourself more and more from your higher self.
When you make choices, you literally re-energize yourself. Think of yourself as a type of magnet or an attracting type of energy. When you make choices in your life, you attract all of the energies to you. We say to humans that all energy is there to serve you. It seeks to serve you. And the Master allows energy to serve them. Come into this era of I am. It is also discovering that this God that humans have been seeking for the last 10,000 years doesn't exist out in heaven somewhere, isn't hidden somewhere. It is right here. It has always been there.
There's a shift. We would suggest someone saying there's a new myth of God. A new myth of God arising at this time. And that is a very exciting prospect, to take the idea of God into a larger context of God, Goddess. All that is, that God is not simply a masculine image per se, but is a principle that is both masculine, feminine, and the synergy of both.
everything that exists, even that rocky hillside outside your window there, everything that exists has a divine aspect. It is part of what you call God or goddess.
And you don't like that. The viewers don't like that. The watchers don't like that, for they wish to put God on the pedestal. And they want to say all good things come from God, and they are taught they are nothing from birth. And it's not that way.
We define love as the choice to see the divinity in all beings, not just human beings, not just spirit beings, but in all beings, all that is.
Often we will use all that is, because that's what the infinite is, the one is. By definition, it is all that is. There is no outside to it. There cannot be an outside to it.
That is, in our view, what God is. And so you are, literally, you are all God. You're all goddess. And you have the power that goes along with being divine, even though you don't think you do, most of the time.
Magnificent, all of you. My definition of God are the ones I sit in front of. You want God to be one thing, for you in 3D. You want to worship God, for you in 3D. And I tell you this, that the day that you start suppressing what you've been told and opening the door to what God really is, in will come God, and it'll have your face on it.
What do you say to people?
There are no victims. There are absolutely no victims.
There are only willing participants. All right? There are no victims. So you can create your reality. All right? You can unplug from mass consciousness and create a separate reality. You are an immortal being who has chosen to project itself into this game.
You're a sovereign, self-sustaining being.
You're powerful creators. You create everything you've ever experienced. And the only alternative to that is to make yourself a victim of fate or whatever, of my mother and father's mistreatment of me, or whatever. Now we realize people don't want to...
Pain serves its purpose. It is a catalyst for change, because if you were happy and content all the time, you probably wouldn't move, would you?
Probably not.
No. So it serves as a catalyst, and we will tell you pain is perception, nothing more.
This level in the human psyche, there is this archetype called separation, and it's based on the fact that you separate yourself from source when you choose to become born. And everyone has that experience over and over and over. Every lifetime that you choose to be incarnated, you are experiencing separation. Separation from source, separation from unconditional love, separation from the light, separation. I feel disconnected, I feel separated, something's missing in my life. The desire for something transcendent becomes very, very strong. And instead of seeking it authentically within, through one's spirituality, people will often seek it through external substances and mind-altering substances, seeking something transcendent through the use of drugs and alcohol.
Good in the world around them, to look for it, deliberately look for it, not just to stumble over it accidentally, but to look for the good, first of all in themselves, to be appreciative for this gift of life that they have in these human bodies. All of you are physical extensions of your God selves. Be joyful. Be joy.
You know, you all are beautiful beings of light. All right? And we are very honored to have an opportunity to speak to you or to work with you. And you really are very special and very rare. This planet has some very beautiful things on it. And the range and expression of love is amazing. The kind you have with a friend, the kind you have with a lover, the kind you have with a lifelong mate, with your brother, with your mother, with your father. They're varying shades, and that is what is so special about the love on this planet. It's not like that everywhere.